It looks like we have about 20 participants right now. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. We have limited time. I don't want to take a lot of time this morning, but I'm really excited to have the opportunity to talk to everyone about CoStar National and what it means for the Rawls Group. So thank you. As I put in the email, I worked with CoStar as an account manager in Atlanta for almost 4 years, and my job was to help organizations just like KW Commercial grow their business by leveraging the data and analytics. If I could say anything to each of you this morning is, with the access of this data, you need to really think of yourself as not a local agent in a local office. Having access to CoStar National data really puts you on the same playing field with some of the top brokerage firms in the country. KW Commercial is a national, multinational company, and having access to data like some of the top shops in the country gives you really the leverage that you need to grow your business. So I want to take a little bit of time. I'm going to spend most of the time going through CoStar. If it's quick and you're not taking notes, by all means, send me an email. What I would like to do, if any offices want to have smaller meetings in the next couple of weeks, I'm happy to set up 30, 45 minutes to come to your office and help individuals. I'll also show you where you can get access to your CoStar contacts, and part of their job is supporting the accounts. You're not bothering them. They actually get credit for the interaction with every client. Okay, so we're about 22 people now. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to kind of jump into it where I put some notes on what we were going to talk about. Let me just get there. Desktop. There we go. Share. Okay. 1 second. There we go. Okay. So hopefully everybody's logged in and taken a look at the national data. I just want to go through a few things here that I think will be game changers, but we're really just scratching the surface today. Okay, so one of the things that I want to show you is who are your CoStar contacts. So if you scroll all the way to the bottom of your screen, our sales contact is Russell Johnson. Our client relationship consultant is Kaylin. And then you also have access to customer support. You just click on their name. You can send them an email, call them. Again, their job is to help clients, and they get credit for interacting with you. So use them as a resource. As we get further into the product, I'm going to show you where every market analyst and how you can contact them, outside of the Atlanta market. You might be familiar with Trenton and David here in Atlanta, but this will show you how you can access other analysts. Okay. So one of the first things that I wanted to show you is, how do you use access to national data? And really think of it just having access to outside the Atlanta market. Atlanta market, you can do business in the whole state of Georgia, and it was actually more cost effective for us to just go national than just to open up Georgia. So one of the examples that I'm going to show you is how you can use the Atlanta geography to find top owners and understand their portfolio, and see if maybe learn more information about them. And how do you pull up their portfolio? What do they own? So this gives you access to people that might own something in Atlanta but are not located in Atlanta. So if you go to properties, go to all properties, And remember, what I'm showing you, you can do this for any asset type. I'm just going to use different asset types for examples. So if we actually typed in Atlanta market, or actually, you know what I like to do better? Just go to the location tab, and you can actually see all the metro markets for Atlanta that you have access to. That's submarket. Go to market. Now you can see every market in the country. So if I want to scroll down and I want to see Atlanta, and now we have access to Athens, which doesn't seem like it should be outside the Atlanta market, but it is for CoStar. And I can actually add Athens and Atlanta. And I can see, I'm going to choose industrial. And we're going to go to a property size of 20,000 to 50,000. And now I can see, I've got access in the top right corner. You can see I've got 2,885 properties. These are on and off market properties. I can quickly go to this list tab, and I can see a list of all the properties, or I can click on this owners tab, and it's going to tell me, rank it by market share, who the top owners are in industrial. There's a lot of properties here, so just give it 1 second and it'll show us the list. Okay, so Seelig is actually in Georgia, but if I scroll down a little bit, and maybe I don't want to deal with any REITs, I want to see who are the private companies. I can even filter down further by private. Okay, so here's an interesting one. They're based out of New Jersey. In our search of 2,885 properties, they own 22. So they're a pretty big player here in this area. So I don't know who this is, Hartz Mountain Industries. I can click on it. Now it's going to give me the professional directory. I get an idea of what they buy and sell. Plus I now have their email contacts, I have their phone numbers. And then I can go back here, and I like to just copy the name of the company. Whoops, popped up that again. Control C. And then if you open up another tab in CoStar, you can kind of toggle between the two. So if you go back to another screen and just kind of clear it out, and I go to, the only thing I want to click on is filters, contacts, under the true owner. Actually, I'm going to copy that in. I select it in the drop down. And now I can see, yeah, they have a lot of properties in Athens, but now I'm just going to scroll out, continuing scrolling out to the entire US and see where they actually have properties. So they own 278 properties under that true owner name. So then I can actually click on a list and I can see everything that they own. I can also see in certain areas who's representing them. I can see if they have sold anything in the past 90 days or 365 days. It looks like they've only sold one property. So they're probably an owner that acquires and holds. They're not usually selling a lot here in the past year. Maybe they've been more active in past years. But just quickly how you can take trying to understand a market, who are the top owners, and then go and blow out the entire country and say, what else do they own? Interestingly, this company actually also owns some multifamily, some office. They're not just strictly industrial. So let me go to participants. Look like we're up to 30. Okay. So that was one of the first examples. I'm just going to run through these examples and then we'll just hold your questions and then we'll just open it up for everybody to unmute and then we can ask questions and I can go back and show any of the examples if you didn't understand it. Also, when you're doing large massive exports for like the country, you do have to realize that CoStar has a limit of 500 exports at a time. Now that means you can do multiple exports, but you're probably limited to 500 at a time. Also, I want to point out, if you are exporting and you don't have it on a specific asset, let's say you have select all, you're only going to have filtering capability and export capabilities a lot of times for what is common across the assets. So if you're having trouble finding the right fields that you need, you might need to filter down the property type just a little bit more. Another great thing about having access to other markets than Atlanta is if you have a client that has been heavy in Atlanta and they're looking at other markets outside of Atlanta, they're going to go to you first to say, hey, I've got this restaurant in Atlanta and I'm considering opening up something in Charleston, or I heard that Greenville was an area. And so you now are the go-to resource for them to start exploring what is going on in those markets, what are rent rates, what are vacancies, and actually help them find a property. Okay, for example, I'm going to, and I also want to show you for that, you can also, in the properties, go to all properties. And I'm just going to pull up Charleston, South Carolina for this example. Now, if I do the city of Charleston, then I'm only getting anything inside the city limits. You could do the Charleston market, but I just really want to get on that part of the map. So now I'm here in Charleston. My client said he really wants to be, somewhere within 10 miles of the center of Charleston. I'm going to go to retail. They probably don't want anything bigger than 5,000 square feet. So now I can go and see for this particular area, what do the analytics look like? So I can go from my map to my analytics tab. One more thing here. I'm on filter because I just want to see restaurants. I'm going to go down to the building and I'm going to say secondary type restaurant. That might narrow it down too much, but you do have that option to start with. So then I can see on the analytics for these 172 properties, what is kind of a snapshot of the analytics in the market? What is inventory? What's availability? What is leasing rates going for? Then I can actually go back and say, okay, well, now that I've seen an overview of the market on and off, let me see what is for lease there. Wow, not much available for lease for restaurant. So I want to click on this one here on Folly Beach, the Hen and the Goat. And now you've got access to everything about this. You can find out if it's sold, who the owner is, if it's being listed with a broker. It looks like Shopping Center Group. This guy's in Charleston, and right there you have his contact information. He's also going to be a great resource to tell you what else is going on in that market. Again, you can also, on the analytics tab, if your client is not familiar with an area, you can go to the analytics tab. You can go through it on the property level, and there's also another tab, market and submarket analytics, and I'll show you how to get there. You can go and do a market report, and it's going to give you a summary of Charleston. If I clicked on submarket, it's going to be specific to Folly Beach. And now you can quickly get up to speed on anything going on in a market. The commentary is written by the CoStar analyst. All the analytics are updated. They're real time. If there's any news articles, you can click. These are great things to send to clients. If you scroll down all the way, you're going to actually see, hang on, who is writing this. So now I have a CoStar market analyst for Charleston that I can reach out to and get me more information about the market. You know, she spends all of her time all day, every day researching her markets. So she's a great contact. You click right there and you can now email her. So let me just exit out of that. Cancel. Okay. Okay, one of the other things that I think is going to be invaluable is how you can use sales comps to find people outside of Atlanta and expand your who could be a potential for a listing that you have. One of the examples that I'm going to use is something that my team here was able to use. Now, we had to reach out to CoStar to do this for us, but it really was helpful in trying to locate who could be potential buyers for a property. So I'm going to just go back to I'm going to go back to CoStar main page. And then now you have access to national sales comps and national lease comps. But I'm going to use sales comps for this example. So if I go to sales comps, so the situation that we had in our office is we were given a listing for a shopping center in Connersville, Indiana, and the anchor tenant was a Tractor Supply Center, great retailer. And now we were trying to find who might be a good buyer for that property. And also, as we're trying to evaluate cap rates, not just looking at other shopping centers in Indiana that have sold, but broaden the search to say, because Tractor Supply is such a strong national tenant, find out what the cap rates were for recent centers that had a Tractor Supply as a tenant and what they have sold for. So right there, you have been able to identify potential buyers for your type of center, as well as understand and maybe how you should value the sales price. So you can go ahead and type in USA. So now you're going to see, all I have is USA. You now have access to over 3.6 million records in sales comps for CoStar. I'm going to narrow it down to retail, and I'm going to just filter by tenant, properties containing, and I'm going to just type in Tractor Supply and add it. So now I've got 1,240 sales comps that include retail properties that contain a Tractor Supply. But what I want to do is see what is really just sold in the last year. So now it takes me down to 99 records. So this is all over the country, and which might be a better representation for this specific listing versus just saying, show me Indiana retail centers. So I can go and say, okay, again, click on the list. Who's buying them? You've got public, private companies. Again, you have access to the professional directory. You can read about this company, access to their contacts, phone numbers, what other properties do they own, what other transactions have they done. Again, I can also copy this company and pull up their full portfolio if I want to see it in a different format as well. In addition, if I want to see the sales comps and I want to see, want to kind of figure out the cap rates, I can export. I've only got 99 records, so I can do a full export there. I just go to More, Export. This is the pro forma cap rate and actual cap rate. This is just based on the math and what was put in and the sales comp information that CoStar was actually able to get. But we can go ahead and export that. And now with a few steps, I actually have access to everything that's been trading for this retails with the Tractor Supply, what the sale price is. And if they don't have the actual cap rate, you can kind of fill that in, but it does give you, if you want to just kind of say, okay, on average, it looks like the average is about 6. So it can really give you a lot of great information for broadening your search. Another example here in Georgia would be, show me all the Publix shopping centers that have traded. And you don't have to just limit it to Atlanta anymore. Now you can do anywhere where Publix actually has a footprint. So I hope that's helpful. I'm going to attempt on the Zoom call to, let's see if I can get there more. Sorry. All right. I was trying to get it where we could go ahead and ask a question and stop, but for some reason I'm challenged with that. So I'm just going to keep moving here through the notes, and then I'll figure it out at the end. Okay, another thing that I put on here was, how do you find the next growth areas where people are actually buying? A great example is home builders. They're buying huge tracts of residential land to develop. Or maybe there's multifamily under construction. You have someone that wants to expand maybe outside of Atlanta, and they want to know kind of where the next up and coming area is. So in this example, I'm going to go stay in sales comps. I'm going to go back to the map. Now I'm just going to clear out everything. Let's just look at South Carolina as an entire state. Property type that I'm looking for is land. Land area, let's say we want a minimum of 20 acres. And we want to see things that have sold within the past year. We could do 2 years. We can go to filter. We want to go to land. And the secondary type would be residential. So I can see here on the map, there's different clusters. It looks like there's a lot going on here in the Greenville, Spartanburg, south of Charlotte area. So what I can do is just X off the location. I can then draw a polygon and say, okay, let me see everything in this area. And give just a second to refresh. Okay, so it looks like there's about 69 records in the past year. Again, I just go to list. These are all the properties, and then we can see who is actually buying them. Still refreshing. This is from our old search. Okay, so now we can see, and some of you might be very familiar with some of these top residential developers. Taylor Morrison, very large. How much they own in total. They actually own one in this search. So this could be an indication of an area that's booming. And now if you want to learn about any of these companies, you can, again, click on them, open up the professional directory, understand what they do, and other types of properties that they own. Okay, try to zoom. Sorry, just trying to unmute meeting. So if you'd like to unmute and ask some questions before we talk about how this can help grow your downline and some other ideas for your network, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question.
So I have a question. This is Steve Massell. Is there a quick and easy way to get all of the owners or buyers or whatever your list ends up coming up with to get their email, so you can do a click and email 100 or however many offering up a property that you have? And do those emails go out
Okay.
addressed individually or just kind of blank, blanket type?
Okay, sorry. I think I can hear you now.
Okay, so is there a quick and easy way to take your list of owners or buyers that shows where they're, and all of their emails, so you can copy their emails, do a blast to them, offering up a particular property or offering our services to sell them land or whatever your focus is?
That's a great question, Steve. Unfortunately, because of the size of CoStar's database, they are controlled by the spam laws, and they are not able to just give you a way to export everyone's email address. You do have to go into either the property record and get the email that way. I'm sure a lot of you email folks directly from a property record to the broker or an owner, or you got to go into the professional directory and copy it. But they are set up so you cannot just spam a lot of people from the CoStar database. Prospect Now, I think they have different capabilities. I don't know if it's because they're pulling in public information. I'm not really sure. Any other questions?
I have a question. This is Jade. So as far as the contacts, like I found it, I guess the CoStar's contact information to be somewhat of some of them, obviously not the big players. Some of them, maybe the smaller local ones are kind of outdated. Do you know that they're working on that side to make it more accurate?
To be completely transparent about the database, I think CoStar does a great job getting contacts in the database. What I think is a lot more of a challenge is keeping those updated. It really depends on the asset and something specific that you're looking at and how often it's updated. For example, if you have an owner developed building and they've always occupied it, and they're nothing for lease or for sale, and you're trying to call them to see if I don't know that CoStar is touching that contact as often as they would something that is more active on the market. So there is a chance that it could be outdated. The nice thing that CoStar has done is they've added in the public record data from Public Records USA right in the record. And so it's another quick resource to go to and look at the public record information to see if you can find more recent information than actually CoStar has as a contact.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question. I think everybody wants fresh contacts. Think of CoStar as they're really focused on the buildings and making sure the availability is there. I do know that they had a big initiative to try to get that data as up to date and as current as possible, but it is pretty massive. Also in the property management area and multifamily, if anybody deals in multifamily, I mean, property management companies are changing, I mean, almost monthly.
My name's Jim DeVille. Can you hear me?
Yes, Jim.
I got a generic question. I've got a researcher who was unable to attend this conference.
Mhm.
Is this going to be recorded, and can you send out a link?
I have not recorded this. However, I am offering if you wanted to do another like screen share, if you had like a small group, and we can also bring in your CoStar account manager, that can continue supporting you. I was just trying today to show how you can leverage more geography to grow your business. But this is not a be all end all for CoStar training for the rest of the year. So I will help you get that set up.
Would it be best for me to reach out to my representative and do it that way?
You can reach out to me. I mean, I'd like to, get to know how I can help, and then we can put you in touch with him. It should be pretty quick.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
According to Zoom, it appears to be recording, like up in the
Okay.
left-hand corner. So it
Well-
might be where you check where you created the Zoom meeting, and they'll have a recording link.
Okay, I'll check with Nick. As you all can tell, I'm a little Zoom challenged, but hopefully you've gotten something out of this. I do want to just really point out what I saw in my career at CoStar and what I think will really help the folks at KW Commercial, besides just feeling like you're more of a national broker and you have access to all the data that the CBREs, the JLLs, and all those people have. Using this information to leverage to help us grow our downlines in your office. For example, if you were to leave a company and you wanted to go get CoStar National on your own, your minimum expense is going to be $1,400 to $1,500 a month. So if somebody is looking for that, there's several people on the call here that have created their own brand within KW Commercial and really been able to control the fees. So this could be a really opportunity if you're talking to veterans out there that are thinking about starting off on their own, why they would want to go to KW Commercial, because they now have access to this data for 80% less of what they could get it for on their own. And the other thing a couple other notes that I pointed out as I was thinking about other people to network with, that having access to this data will help you. If anybody deals with appraisers, and if we've got appraisers on the call, I apologize, but typically I have found that appraisers are pretty cheap spending money. They don't want to pay for data. And a lot of times Atlanta appraisers, unless they are connected to a big national account, they'll only pay for Atlanta data. And they were famous for calling me and asking, oh, I just need 2 comps in Charlotte. So if you're working with appraisers, give them access to some comps, but expect something in return. And so they're always looking for CoStar data. Maybe they have something in like Rome, Georgia. Well, that falls outside of Atlanta market, and they just need 1 industrial comp. Well, it's a give and take. Also, I will say that owners. So we had a big push in the past 2 years to sell CoStar to owners. And when we would sell it, it would be priced based on their portfolio and where they had assets. A great example, industrial folks might be focused here in Atlanta. They have a lot of assets in Atlanta. They have CoStar in Atlanta, but now they're looking at Inland Empire, or they're looking at Houston to maybe acquire an asset. If you've got contacts, maybe you can give them an underwriting report or a listing report or a sales comp to continue building that relationship outside of Atlanta for their needs.
Leanne, can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes.
It's Leland. It's Leland.
Sure.
Would you give the guys and girls a little analytic overview? Because they probably don't understand the power of the analytics. Just a 3-minute on analytics.
So I'm going to show this market and submarkets, this analytics area here. This is going, and the great thing is before, if you ever clicked on this, you saw one dot and it was Atlanta. Now you can see every major market. If I want to go to retail and I actually want to see submarkets, and you know, maybe I don't really want the whole US. Maybe I just want to focus on this. I can filter down. Somebody might need to mute. And I want to look at where different vacancies, inventory, all that. You can filter down, but you can also see a list here. And you can sort all these by different, whatever your interest is, asset value. Let's go, and I'll just do, how about we do Georgia? Before we just had Atlanta. Now I can see all the retail submarkets for the entire state of Georgia. Hey, somebody, could you? I'm gonna mute everybody. Sorry.
Can't hear you.
You can mute Ming,
I'm trying.
whichever.
Ming. Okay, 1 second. Mute. Okay, I think that worked. Okay, so here are all the retail submarkets and markets for all of Georgia. So you have the ability to look at asset value, where the smallest, the largest is. But if you scroll down on all of these, if you go to the whole full US, you'll be able to see a national index. Let's see here, go to USA. So you have access to all of these different different reports. You can also, these are great reports to send a submarket report. It's going to load it in a PDF and send to your clients. If you've got a client that you think is looking in an area, send them a submarket report. Hey, did you see what's going on in Savannah? Hey, did you see what's going on in Greenville? This is a great way for you to familiarize yourself with areas and show your clients that you are, you have access and you can show them some great information. This probably isn't a good one because it's a small area. Again, the power of this, as Leland said, is you can quickly look at all the analytics. You can list and compare. I'm going to filter by who's got the smaller vacancy rates. Sure, retail. And then you can then map it and stuff like that. That gets into a lot more analytics than sometimes brokers do. So if you feel like you have a need for some of this, you can definitely reach out to me or your CoStar rep and I can show you that. Also, when you're in one of these submarket reports, you can quickly go down to leasing, net absorption, net deliveries, and vacancy. You can, click on one of these. This is a full report here. You can click in those and you can actually play around with the forecast. This is all defaulted to base case. Through the past year with the COVID, they've actually added some moderate downside, moderate upside. You can change those out and kind of play around with those as well. So this can be really great graphs and tools to just educate yourself and your clients with what's going on in the area. Leland, did you have something else that you thought would be helpful to show?
Yes, because some of them, they don't even know what is available. So with the national and the analytics, maybe that appraisal report that Sir Charles
Underwriting? Okay.
show them that,
Yeah.
I don't know what you call it.
It's called an underwriting report, and CoStar
Yes.
has it for, it's probably their closest thing to a BOV that's available. So let's just pick a property. I don't know if anybody saw the article on Knoxville yesterday and some of the other boutique markets. As you have clients looking to expand, maybe they want to go to Knoxville. So this says for sale, price not disclosed. I can go anywhere in the country, retail, industrial, multifamily, office, click into a report, click into a record. There's two ways you can get to this. So this is one of the easy ways. If I'm in the record, I can go to reports, full underwriting. If I click on the full underwriting, I'm getting everything in this. A lot of these are about 120 pages. So you might only want a market summary, but you now have access to anywhere in the country for those assets. If you've got a lender that you're working with and maybe the property is outside of their area, they don't have access to CoStar, or honestly, lenders from the business development side don't usually play around in CoStar. It seems like it would be a great business development tool for them, but typically CoStar sits in the underwriting side. So if you've got somebody that you're talking to on the business development side that you're trying to get somebody to lend on it, you can always send them an underwriting report. Then they're going to take it to their team to say, see, look, this is a pretty good asset here. Let's dig a little bit further and see if we can underwrite this. So that's a full underwriting report. You had it for Atlanta. Now you just have it for every asset in the country. That is really just scratching the surface. I hope everybody just could help use this information to think outside of the box. Maybe you already know a client that you could send something to today. Just show them that, you can give them more, not just in the Atlanta area, but having access to this information, working with other brokers is all here. Feel free to send me an email if your office or there is a group that would like to schedule an in-person or a Zoom call in the next few weeks, and I will be more than happy to focus on your specific asset and try to find unique ways to help you leverage this multitude of data to grow your business in 2021.
All right, hey, it's Leland again.
Okay.
I want all you guys and girls, you do not maximize our asset being Leanne. You can use her for a couple of weeks. Other than that, do your own thing. Thank you, Leanne.
No, I'm happy. Hey, let's do some deals together, everyone. This is a huge opportunity for the Rawls Group. Thank you, Charlie Lockwood, Steve Massell, Jean, for realizing that this is a huge opportunity for us as individuals and to grow KW Commercial here in Atlanta. All right, we'll exit from there, and then individually, if you guys want to send me emails and have questions and schedule things, feel free to reach out.
Thank you,
What is your
Leanne.
email address?
Yes, it's Leanne Edmondson at kw.com. And I think it was on the email that I sent out to everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Leanne. We all appreciate it very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Charlie.